Hello, I'm Dave McCoy, and you've tuned in to the Emerald Water Anglers podcast, Undercurrent.
Dave McCoy.
Yes, Matt DeLorme.
How you doing?
How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Good.
So we're here today in the fly shop
Yep.
to kind of frame up what's coming here with the EWA Undercurrent podcast.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about that and what's around that because, let's face it, there's a bunch of fly fishing podcasts out there.
Yep. Some good ones.
Yep. So I guess the first question, why us? Why now?
Oh, Jesus. Wow. That's a loaded question to start off with. I mean, to some degree, you'd feel like, I feel like we'd be considered Johnny-come-lately. Like, this is so old and old school that by the time we get this off the ground, people are going to be like, look at them still doing podcasts,
Yeah.
But by the same token, I look at the people I know and how I view the sport, and I think that we have a story to tell through, my optic of the sport, the rest of our staff's influence that they have gleaned from me and from being in the sport professionally over the last 10, 15 years. And I think that there's some really fascinating conversations to still be had that I haven't heard yet. So that's why.
We're going to do things a little bit different.
Is that like eating potato chips in the middle of a podcast?
Have potato chips in the middle of the podcast. We should probably talk about that. We are aiming to do a little bit more of a kind of live on location, kind of raw feel with some of our stuff.
Yeah, I think it's funny that we're thinking about doing that because the original podcast that I was listening to, probably, they must have been over 10, 12, 15 years ago. They were being done in like small concert arenas with a live audience.
Right.
And not that those were necessarily on a location, but what you miss in a lot of today's podcasts is that interaction and reaction with the audience and from the audience
right.
of, surrounding whatever the conversational topic is.
Right.
And I want to bring that back. I think it makes it more vibrant. You get to hear true to life reaction to conversations that we're going to have, and some are going to be good and some are going to be bad.
Yeah, I think we're planning on getting into some topics that are fairly normal and some that are going to create some good conversations within the community and I think also within the conservation community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's easy to talk about. Well, there's people doing conservation-based podcasts currently. I feel like all of them, or not all of them, but many of them are already coming from a platform that has stated their position, and so it's just a reaffirmation of how the host or the NGO or whoever is creating that podcast already is publicly stood. And I would say that they're not always in a place where they're going to challenge their own standpoint by asking people on the program to discuss why they don't believe in what's happening.
Right.
And or what that person or people or organization or whatever is doing. And I want to do that. I want to have, the only way we're going to move the ball forward is to have objective is the wrong word.
Hard conversations.
Difficult conversations. I'm going to try to be objective and ask the questions that will get people to reveal how they truly feel about things, and then from there let the conversation flow. Right. Because currently, the way I see it, we're not listening to each other.
No.
Not hearing each other.
Especially, it feels like in today's political climate, it's just this opinion or that opinion, and either you're right or you're wrong.
I've got a bigger megaphone than you. I'm
Right.
just going to shout louder.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, we get a lot done that way.
Yeah, so much done.
Yeah, just tons.
Yeah. So let's get into a little bit of your background here. So clearly the Patagonia ambassador, owner of Emerald Water Anglers.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about your life in fly fishing and your origins and coming up to where we are today, for those that don't know. You can do long version or condensed version.
I'm just going to do real condensed. I feel like, how do I say this delicately? Kind of bored with talking about myself.
Right.
Like, I want to get past that. I was born in Eugene, Oregon. My father and mother, both my grandparents, most of my aunts and uncles all fly fished, so I was indoctrinated before I can remember.
Right.
Here I am today.
Right.
If you want to pick apart what happened between, there was guiding in Colorado, and that was very formative in who I guided for, who I guided with, and how it helped me sort of develop what Emerald Water Anglers is today.
Right. Which
that in itself is probably a decent conversation, but outside of that, I've at my age now, I feel like I can't back out of this and move into a different direction. So I've kind of pushed all my chips to the middle of the table. And I'm like, okay,
all in.
I'm all in.
Right.
In every way possible. And the one particular direction that I want to be all in on in particular is helping this industry, this sport, and the people involved in it view each other as humans, be as inclusive and welcoming to everybody and everybody's perspective as possible, and to also, in the same breath as that, try to inspire people to look outside the norms and find their own little segment of the sport that really piques their interest and run at it full speed.
Right.
Investigate, be curious forever, and surround yourself with the people that applaud you for that and help you be successful in that endeavor.
Right. That's been sort of the philosophy here at the shop.
For sure.
We want people to be successful.
100%.
We give them our personal numbers if they have questions or whatever, or we want them to be successful.
FaceTime from the river with people asking, what bug is this? How would you, is this water safe?
Right. Yeah.
What if my boat's on a log? What do I do now? some pretty interesting FaceTimes. Yeah. But I'm so happy that people trust us enough to call us and do that. So we've accomplished exactly what we're trying to do.
Right. I would say that we have the friendliest shop in town.
I'm going to just say that we try to be as welcoming to every person that comes in.
Right.
And try to not hold any cards close to our chest as far as beta that's going to help somebody get out there and immediately see a vertical climb in their learning curve.
Right.
Period.
And that's what it's all about.
It is, totally.
That
is what a fly shop is supposed to be doing.
Right. Well, you want to talk about, obviously the podcast is coming.
Yeah.
So we've got that. Do you want to address anything else that you've got in the works? Ideas?
When's this coming out? Is this the first one that we're putting out?
This is the first one. This is the
initial one?
This is the maiden voyage.
Oh, man.
The SS Dave.
I don't know if this goes out tomorrow that there's things I can necessarily discuss.
Right.
I will say that we are located in West Seattle, or Vashon East, and like it or not, COVID was one thing, but not having a bridge connecting us to the city is slowly killing us.
Right.
And I am unwilling to go down because of that. So we are taking measures to mitigate that.
Right.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
How about that?
That sounds good to me. That works for me.
All right. That's all I'm willing to say right now.
All right. And we've got some good things in the works as far as some different media projects and things like that coming out. And a good lineup of podcasts planned in the back of our heads, kicking around. A couple of them are kind of concrete. We're in the process of working on.
Yep.
And these ones are going to be directly in the field.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. The one in particular that I'm really excited about.
I can't wait for that one.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah. And these first ones really do focus locally.
Yeah. It
our
needs
area.
to.
Yes.
Needs to. It's the lifeblood of the community that supports us.
Right.
And I want to have that be front and center in the conversations that we start and kick off this podcast with, because I think when people listen to the depth of conversation we have and the topics that we're going to discuss, that you're going to be able to find a common theme through all of them that will enable people to better understand and appreciate probably more than understand the people that we're asking to be on the podcast and why, and the topics and the level of expertise on those topics that those individuals bring to the table. I'm humbled that these people are associated with us, many of them, and that I can call them friends. I think it's I have to pinch myself occasionally. I somehow have managed to meet some of the most amazing people in this sport and be able to have a personal number to call them up when I want to and say, hey, what's up, and vice versa. There's been some crying on each other's shoulders. There's been some, difficult conversations just on what the pandemic has brought to the global fly fishing community, and I want to address all of those in little tiny units that can help people better understand what the whole world's going through right now, and how fly fishing is still keeping us so tightly bound together. It's pretty unique.
It is unique in that, and it's like I think you mentioned last week maybe that fly fishing has been socially distanced sort of forever. It's been the one thing that we've been able to kind of get together and be able to do safely in this whole pandemic. Whether you just drive separately and meet your friend at your favorite run or your favorite beach, and able to still maintain those social connections that keep us sane, keep our souls full.
Yeah, no, it's a recharge for sure, and it's one of those things that when I talk to people in here and online and at seminars and others in shows and all that stuff, it's one of the things that I really try to put on people's plate immediately, is that this is more than just catching fish. It's more than just going out and catching fish with a fly. This really can, and obviously I'm a living proof of this, it can redirect how you choose to wake up and do your day every day. Like, what is your time? How much of it is eligible for for being tainted?
Right.
This can very easily absorb all of that free time, and if it does that, it's naturally going to bleed into the time that wasn't available, and then you end up owning a fly shop. And so I just really enjoy getting people to understand right off the bat, imprint upon them, if you will, the notion that by choosing to fly fish, you're really stepping into I keep using this word, unique. It's just such a small, intimate family of people that exist in this industry, and we all, for the most part, know each other, and if we don't, we're literally one Instagram message away from each other. anymore.
1 degree of separation.
Yeah, and just the commonality of fly fishing opens doors with people that you would otherwise never have something in common with, and immediately usurps those initial formalities of, hey, hi, how are you? What do you do? Oh, well, I fly fish. Oh, no shit. Well, let's get on this.
Right.
Where? When are we going? And you just watch the level of conversation intensify, and again, time slips.
Right.
And what was going to be a little coffee meet and greet becomes a 4-hour lunch.
Right.
And then you guys are fishing. You know, whoever's having the conversation is fishing the next day.
Right.
And for the rest of their lives together.
Right.
Not a lot of sports or activities that embolden themselves to people that quickly, that easily.
Right, and it's even down to just even time alone on the water, whether you find that time where you can sneak out and, well, I can get an hour and a half in or whatever, and then as soon as you step in that water, the whole world just sheets off.
Yep, completely. It is hands down, like, I personally don't care if I catch fish anymore, but watching somebody else, not necessarily even catch fish, but start to see and realize their own success through a higher level skill set, whether that's better ability to read water or their casting, they have a noticeable increase in their proficiency in casting, or whether it's tying flies or whatever it is within the larger body of fly fishing. Watching people, it's the looks on their face.
Oh
my God, it's
the
addicting.
aha moment. It's
addicting.
I've noticed that just in my short time guiding for you, that for me, it's in the casting. If somebody comes out for a trip and you do a couple little corrections to their cast, and then all of a sudden it clicks, and you can see it in their faces. They get this smile on their face that creeps across, and you're just like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
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 That's why we do it.
Yeah. Well,
now you get
exactly.
it.
Well, the way I like to guide is the first part of the day is trying to kind of hone people in on what's necessary to cover the water that we're fishing that day well on their own. And so you're kind of in their grill a little bit to start out. You're on their shoulder, you're working on casting and mending and presentation, stripping, rod tip in the water, point at the line. We have such a diverse spectrum of fisheries around here that looks different almost every day, right?
Right.
But at some point during the day, I see enough proficiency. Thank you, Braden. You see enough proficiency start to take hold that I get to step away, step back. It's when I start to take some photos, and they don't necessarily realize I'm taking some of these photos, and that's a whole other conversation. But it provides us the ability to give them these little tidbits of memories and a story of their day on the water with us. Right. But my favorite thing is when somebody, I'm within earshot and I'm watching somebody, and I'm just watching. I'm just waiting for the fish to take the fly. That's all I'm waiting for, nets in hand. And they turn and look over their shoulder like, so I'm like, there's nothing to say. Just keep fishing.
You're good.
and this little kind of half smirk or grin creeps onto their face as they turn their head back to fishing. And that's why I do this. I wake up every morning wanting to be able to see that in every person's face. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's those
Powerful.
Little, it is. It's incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Let's talk about photography a little bit.
Sure.
And storytelling, because 2 photographers.
Yeah. I think that ironically, you look at our staff as a whole, even those of us that are in the store right now.
Right.
I have this weird affinity for hiring customers.
Yes, you do, because I was a shop rat for what, 3 years?
Yeah, and it's like I'm surprised we've survived that, because it's not like I've hired the customers that have bought like $150 rods and I mean maybe one or two, but like all you guys that work here, you, Kyle, Zach, everybody, we're Byron. We're spending thousands of dollars here, but the problem with that, and it lends to the same story that we were just, or the same topic we were on, is I get to know you through these interactions as a consumer, and you correct me, but my feeling on this is that we get past that monetary exchange into more of a friendship, and that friendship leads us to get to know each other and have some of those conversations that are really difficult. And I look at who I want representing my company when they're in the store, when they're guiding, when they're on social media, and you and Kyle and Byron all, and others in the past, there's just this, well, one, there's a level of trust, and two, I've gotten to know you at such a personal level prior to you ever working for me that I know you.
Right. Because I used to
know
come
the
in.
applicant you, I know you.
Right.
And so, yeah, I know that veered off of photography, but
that's how our friendship started.
But that's really how it started, yeah.
And some days I wouldn't come in and buy anything. I'd just hang out on the couch for a couple hours and we'd shoot the shit.
Yep. And I'll be completely honest. I'm in awe of your photography. You shoot amazing stuff, and I learn from you every time we get to go out and shoot together.
Right.
So I think that makes me better in everything that I'm trying to do. Not coming across as knowing everything, but rather still being a sponge for as much as I possibly
as
can.
much knowledge as possible.
Yeah.
If you're not learning, you've given up.
Or you've just gotten ahead of, we don't need to go there.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll leave that
transcending.
So no, the photography thing is something that I had a customer a long time ago. I've said this in other podcasts that I'm sure a few people have heard, but I had a customer a long time ago that really, with a very assertive but caring mode, tell me how much photography could value add what he already said was a great service on my part, and that look at the places that we're in. Yes, of course, the fish are stunning. Right. It just makes complete and utter sense that capturing a story in 5 images, even when you're out on the water for a day, even if it's just with an iPhone, not with the $50,000 in equipment we carry, but just with an iPhone, it's just something that gives you a timeline of what the day looked like, and providing that at no cost to your clients for the day. Again, it just embodies this sport. We're a horribly knowledgeable, giving, wanting to give group of people that just all we want is one person to ask me a question, and I'm just going to talk for hours on that. Right. So it's by nature that everybody in the sport wants to give that. So for us to be in that really unique position of helping someone learn to fly fish in a beautiful place, and then turning around and being able to, at the end of the day, be like, oh yeah, by the way, here's a few of these, check these out. Right. And they're like, oh my God, look at that. How did you, what, cliche, but cherry on the cake at that point.
It really,
from our end.
From our end, absolutely.
For them, I assume too, but for our end, to see their reaction to us giving some actual memories to the day that they can tangibly reflect on, it's fabulous. Right. Be foolish not to be doing it.
Because those little snippets of time, while they're good in the memory, it's always nice to be able to look back on that story.
Totally.
And
you take that with you the rest of your life.
You do. And I think storytelling is is vital to what you've done here with this shop. It's helping to build excitement around the lifestyle. Not so much even as even an advertising point of view, but just it's a lifestyle. We're telling stories about being in places, and because there's all those other accessory moments.
It's little slices of life.
Right.
Every slice is different.
Right, exactly. And we've talked about this many times before. Mm-hmm. And that part of storytelling is such a powerful tool. And I think coming into this podcast part of storytelling definitely helps us strengthen that, because I do think some of the other things we'll be doing in these podcasts, because they are going to be on location, mic'd up, doing whatever activities we're out there doing and talking about whatever we're doing, we're going to have little photo galleries to go up with these episodes, so you can see what we're talking about, basically, and that just is enriching that storytelling process.
Sure. Yeah, I always try to help people, which is funny because if you think about it today, history moves in blocks.
Yeah.
So for me, the people that were iconic to me and that were, not personal mentors, but the people that I looked up to early, many have passed or are, getting really old. And a lot of those people, somebody that we're introducing to today doesn't know who the hell they are.
Right.
I've said that about a number of people that are really good friends of mine in the sport that I still believe to be iconic, and that might just be the stuck in my historical block within the sport to some degree, because I can't imagine somebody not knowing Brian O'Keefe.
Right.
And yet I said to somebody the other day, I said, photography came to me in this sport really through a number of different inputs, but one of the most powerful ones was Brian O'Keefe and his underwater photography. I immediately started setting tips aside to go buy my first underwater housing. Right. And I could you got the deer in the headlights look from the person, and I'm like, so you don't know who Brian O'Keefe is? He's like, no. I'm like, yeah, fair. It just is what it is. And I think so I'm also an ambassador for the American Museum of Fly Fishing, right? Which I was really excited because we can't lose the heritage of the sport. I'm all about innovation, and I'm all about reshaping and to some degree reinventing some of the wheels that we can become more efficient with in the sport. But we can't lose why this sport is still with us in the process of doing that. And unfortunately, I feel like we are on the verge of doing that to some degree. And so my goal is to try to always take the new people into the sport and quickly bypass two of the blocks of history and take them back to Flip, Lefty, Lee Wolf, oh my goodness, having a total mental block. Joan Wolf, people that really what they did for the sport is still with us. It's been marketed over the top of, and people have kind of moved the shells around a little bit to try to take some degree of credit for stuff, but they really did so much for us. Among other people, I'm just throwing a couple names out. There's a ton of people that did, but we can't allow everybody moving forward to lose that entirely.
Right.
And that storytelling was a big part of what this sport really. It's why fly angler stories are, it's the one cliche that we get sort of hit in the face with a lot of times. Oh, you telling me a fishing story?
Right.
Yeah, of course. That's what we're good at.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
good at spinning yarns.
We can embellish with the best of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just think that because that is so rested and rooted where, the history of the sport is, through the stories that we're telling currently, through our photography and how we guide and educating people and stuff like that. I just believe that we're almost kind of resuscitating that storytelling for people now, so that even if we do to some degree lose that history from back then 100 years ago, it will burgeon itself again as people start to more quickly look for why fishing stories are so important to our fishing lives. So, and our lives outside of fishing, for that matter.
They really are. So with that and that storytelling, what can people expect for sort of subject matter coming from us going forward on the podcast? What kind of gamut are we going to cover here?
Holy crap. I don't know that I can even say for certain. I know who our next one is. I know what that one's going to be, and
we've got two that we know what they're going to be.
True. We have two. I'm speaking of the one on the water,
right,
with Dylan.
Yeah.
But I think I'm just going to be fully transparent on this. I'm expecting the people that we ask to be a part of this to have a considerable amount of surprise embedded in their presence on there. So we're always going to strive to have conversations that make you not want this podcast to end.
Right.
And to do that, we're going to have people that you're not hearing on every other podcast.
Right.
And come from some of the tiniest little corners of the sport, or might be in the epicenter of it. You never really can tell, but
I think
I'm excited about it.
And I think that's actually one of the next episodes is one of the two that we have planned. It's one of those people that
for sure. That's why I threw that in there.
You don't hear about what they're doing. The subject matter is something that most people, it's ingrained in everyday life. You don't see it. You don't realize what's going on there.
It's horribly pertinent to things going on in this part of the world.
It is.
So that one's going to be a blast. I can barely wait.
Yeah, that one's good.
And he's kind of fun to talk to, too.
He's so fun to talk to.
I wish we had this as a video, because his caricature in person is...
Let's just put it this way, and there's a couple images that we've already taken for it, but the guy's house is full of the most amazing...
Were you here when he showed us that he has a pet turkey?
Yeah. Or he had a pet turkey.
Has a pet turkey.
Yeah.
His cousin's house.
Yeah. He had to move it, but
my God,
his house is full of reptiles and insects, and he is just. He is so funny. I'm looking forward to that one too. It'll be a stark contrast to the one we have before it. Right.
It's a great question, but I would just say that we are going to, like everything else we do, we're going to try to set ourselves apart and be as unique as possible in who and how we approach the conversation.
Yeah. So the subject matter will be all over the place.
Yep.
We might even, today we're in the shop. Customers are coming in and out. That's kind of the vibe we want here. Out in the field or whatever. But we want that live feeling. Like if Braden were to come over and say hi right now, that wouldn't be a big deal.
No. In fact, hey Kyle, could I bother you for really quick? Sorry, Braden. Let me just interrupt really briefly.
We need a refill over here.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that's. I know. Well, it's part of the big picture that you're aware of. So, God, dude, I wish I could spill the beans on that, because
I know I could see it in your face, because you're like, I wanted to.
Oh, thanks, buddy. It's my
You guys want me to spit some bars? Just let me know.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to get back to like in-person fly tying classes. I'm excited to get back to where we can begin to re-engage the community and build that community that we had prior to COVID.
Right.
I miss our Riders on the Fly events. I miss our
Those are the best.
Get to know your NGO events. There's so much that our sport glosses over in the rush to sell a rod, a line, a reel, leader, tippet, some flies that really make it so much more than just those items.
Right.
Those are the tools that you're using to go sort of engage in the sport, but the real color, the real depth comes from everybody that surrounds and supports that. The
right.
artists, the writers, the photographers, the movie makers, the rod designers, the people that are being ingenuitive in any capacity within the sport. Those are the people I want to talk to.
Right.
So I'm excited. It's going to be fun. And you know what's going to be even more fun is I'm going to know most of these people, and I'm going to get to introduce them to you. And it's going to be fun to watch that because
I'm already there's a couple that I'm already.
I have stars in the eyes for a couple of them anyway.
Yeah, so. I've been giggling like a schoolgirl over a couple.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be so fun.
Absolutely, and I think it's these types of stories that help people understand better, like when they go out and interact with the environment, because that's what we're doing with fly fishing.
Yep.
It's a interaction with the environment on such a soulful level.
So when I started, on that note, that's a great point. When I started, I was introduced with the idea that the whole point of choosing to fly fish versus any other method was to insert yourself into the situation unbeknownst to everything in that situation. Basically, you're expected to completely blend in with your natural surroundings, so much so that whatever fish you're pursuing is unaware and doesn't recognize your presence. And if you look at how our sport depends wholly on that, whether it's on flats or whatever, or in a trout stream, we should be wearing that as a code of conduct for how we operate in the outdoors. And I don't think enough people really talk about the sport that way.
I think that's one of the things that I think since my time coming to the shop and our friendship has progressed, and I've developed my own weird little notions on some weird things but I definitely agree with you there. I think as far as you've had your mentors, you've been a fantastic mentor to so many other people, including myself. And those are those types of things that I have found personally have developed the way I go out and think about fishing these days. And it's whether it's spey casting or anything like that. I feel like I've become more in tuned, even with steelhead fishing, say, since I started spey casting. Mm-hmm. When my cast finally clicked, I stopped caring about catching fish. I'm happy to go stand in a river.
That's pretty rad.
And enjoy. For me, it's absolute zen. And then if you, perchance, luckily, get a chance to interact with one of those rare fish, then, I mean, my first one on the swing, I cried.
Yeah.
And I called it a day after that.
We've had a number of people with that experience.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think that's part of what we need to do is not so much impress, but it's that part of interaction with the environment that we are part of it. We are connected.
That's the other part of why people used to go fly fishing. I mean,
right.
There was you could keep everything you caught back in the day because there was an abundance of it, and there were very few people doing it.
Right.
So there's that part. But the other part of it, and it resonates more now because back in the day, a lot of people used it to get away from people.
Right.
The solitude of being out in nature and not being bothered by other people.
Right.
Kind of appealing.
Right.
It's considerably harder to do now.
Right.
Cell phones work in a lot of places, so that electronic leash is something you really have to try hard to either completely leave behind, turn off, or ignore. And there's more people doing it, and we have fewer resources on which, in some places, to do it.
Right.
So, you kind of have to adjust your expectation enough to where you still accomplish what that goal is in the midst of the situation that you're in each and every day, or each time you choose to engage.
Right.
So there's a temperament there that you've got to measure you got to kind of try to keep in balance, because you can't just expect to not see anybody when you go fly fishing living in Seattle.
Right.
It's possible. More difficult, but possible. And that's kind of what that's a puzzle to me. It's really enjoyable trying to help people figure out how to balance their expectations with what can be delivered on their, with what they're capable of, so that they're still completely jazzed about having chosen to pick up the fly rod.
Right.
Regardless of the result, they've ticked enough boxes in the process of doing that they can't wait to turn the page and write their next story the next day.
Exactly.
I love seeing people in that position.
Right.
We've done it correct with those people.
Right.
So they'll be in it forever.
Yeah. And it's that's the stuff that just it goes back to the thing with guiding. That's the stuff that just gives me shivers.
Yeah, me too. I just got a little chill up the back of my neck right there, actually.
Exactly.
Yep. Just had a trip that fell into this category a couple days ago, and just couldn't have chosen a better way to spend my day than to be with Aya and Richie out there on the water. This is one of my favorite days in the last few years, actually. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I would say mine last week with the father-son.
Yeah, those are awesome.
That was another one of those days that
I saw a couple of those pics. Those were so sweet. I loved it.
And I was just like, and the funny thing is the dad sort of reminded me of an uncle of mine that I grew up fishing with. And he had that same sort of like wry smile, dry sense of humor. Nice. Got into a competition with his son, just pitching each other shit back and forth, but then
yeah, a little salt on all those wounds is good.
Yeah, It was, and those are those experiences.
Yeah, no, they're pretty special to witness. You get to just sort of be well, I guess for me, I love being there and being the conduit for people to have those experiences with loved ones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which again is why telling a 5-photo story for them in those moments allows them to not have to disengage to sort of fracture or break that momentum.
Pull out their phone or whatever.
Yeah, and it just allows them to stay completely disengaged and enjoying the moment, and still provide them with what they probably would have done had they been there by themselves.
Right.
But I think it bleeds more deeply into them if they don't have to do that themselves.
Exactly.
So, yeah, pretty awesome.
And I think that's, I mean, and going forward, that's, what this is all going to be. It's going to be experiential. It's going to be
totally
It's going to be live. It's going to be surprise, and
Yeah,
I think it's
a little raw, a little emotional.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's funny because in my head, I've got about 50 people I want to do this with, but they're all over the world, so it's going to be interesting to carve that out.
We can figure it out.
No, we will.
We'll figure it out.
We
Yeah.
will. It'll be fun because for a long time, before I really started traveling, before I really started spending a lot of time going to find some of those people that I started to see on social media, you anybody considerably younger than me would laugh their ass off at this because
Right.
it wouldn't make any sense. But you felt like a little bit like a lone soldier in some of your beliefs because there just wasn't access to a lot of those people to be able to find camaraderie and being a feather from the same bird, if you will.
Right.
But it's choose to look at social media how you want. I choose to look at it as a way to have made really, really lifelong, substantial friends. I've got some solid friendships from the people I've met through that I've, through the electronic friendship, have forged in-person friendships. And it's refreshing to know that other people in other parts of the world with different mentors have landed in the same spot of what the sport means to them and what they're trying to accomplish. It emboldens me. It makes me want to do more, try harder, be better, because I'm nowhere near perfect. But it just makes me want to be better.
Right.
And I'm excited to wake up every day and challenge that.
Yeah.
So
This is going to be so fun.
It's going to be so fun. Oh my God.
Looking forward to this.
And should say that once we get to that place where we can talk about what else we're working on outside of the podcast, we will absolutely do it.
Yeah, we should do one episode around that once we get there.
We will.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say before we sign off?
I don't think so. I do want to acknowledge that you were the one who put us up to this, and I thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Because it is definitely something that I have pondered, but just did not have the bandwidth to do. So thank you for that, because this is going to allow us to have a more expressive message to the audience that chooses to listen to us, and it's going to allow us to be more personal and more revealing in how we do the why and the what and all that stuff that's important to us. Braden, take care, buddy.
See you, Brady. Good to see you.
Did you get the aluminum spikes and stuff?
All set.
Get out.
They're pretty gnarly, don't they?
So will you please just go out and just tell me how they work? I think it'll make a huge difference over those carbide. So
I'll let you know.
awesome.
All right.
Thank you, Braden. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
You get your spares too.
So anyway, I just want to acknowledge that and thank you for being the catalyst for that, because this is going to be awesome.
You're welcome. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be rad.
It's
Kyle,
gonna be
thanks
awesome.
for being here.
Kyle, thanks for being here.
Yep. It's going to be rad.
It's going to be good.
Oh, yes.
All right, folks. So there it is. Episode 1. Kind of a roadmap of what we're doing here. And
Hopefully.
Yeah. and as with any ill-laid road, it's probably going to do some little bends and have some potholes, but it's going to be good. So
Absolutely. We're going to drive it.
yeah. So thanks for tuning in.
Yep. And we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah.